Hi, this is Sybil Baker. I'm happy to talk to you today about pranic healing. Pranic healing is a no-touch system of energy healing that uses prana, the life force energy, to heal the body. I first became aware of energy and the healing in the body way back in 1983 when I worked on the night shift as a labor and delivery nurse. We had a patient in back labor, and the patient wasn't very uncomfortable. In those days, what we used was some drugs and needles to help people with their back labor. So we had an Asian medical student on the floor that night. He went into the patient's room and he performed acupressure on the patient, and all of her pain went away. So it was very, very interesting to me that there was something besides drugs and needles that could influence the comfort level of the laboring patient. So I went on to graduate school, and one of my colleagues was a practitioner of therapeutic touch. So she showed me therapeutic touch and actually did some research on therapeutic touch. I will say that that sort of weirded me out, just her waving her arms around me. Nevertheless, I pursued the study of these invisible modalities. I next studied healing touch, which is again a nursing-based modality. I studied a couple levels of Reiki, and eventually I went to massage school to help out our high-risk pregnant population. Now, the universe had an interesting plan for me, so when I graduated from a massage school, my clinical nurse specialist position was downsized, so I hung out my shingle as a massage therapist. I had been practicing massage therapy for about a year when I got a brochure in the mail for pranic healing. So that brochure sort of dragged me off to class. It was very interesting. And when I got there, I just fell in love with this modality. It is a very awesome modality. It's a very scientific modality. It is, the founder is Master Cho Kuk Sui. He is a Chinese descent Filipino who dedicated his whole life to the study and research of the ancient sciences and arts of pranic healing. So I was fortunate enough to walk the earth with Master Choa for about 10 years. I feel very much grateful for that opportunity, and I learned so many things from him. And I'm honored to be able to carry his work forward. Since 2000, I've been teaching his pranic healing classes. And I teach not only the basic class, which we'll talk about today, but also his advanced class, the class for psychological healing, which is for mental and emotional well-being, and then also a pranic crystal healing class. So if you're interested in taking this class, please click the button below now. So let me tell you a little bit about this class. In this class, we're going to be doing some very basic and very easy work. The principle of pranic healing is very simple. It's based on the principle that the body can heal itself. So you've all had a scrape or a cut or a burn or a cold or a flu, and it got better. So the body has that ability. And then the second principle is based on that of prana. Prana is a life force energy. So every culture in the world has this life force energy. So if you know the Chinese do qigong. So qi is the Chinese word for that life force energy. In Reiki, the ki is that life force energy, or aikido. So in the Greek, it's pneuma. In the Hebrew, it's ruach. And there's a language, every language has a word for that life force energy. So it's very, very simple. It's around us. It surrounds us in our whole environment. So we're surrounded we live in a sea of prana. So basically what we do is that we use our hand to sweep away stuck prana. So for example, say you work in an environment that has a lot of stress in it, or you have a lot of people that are unhappy, or they're pressed, or they're distressed because of the workload. Everyone knows that the workload in the 21st century seems to be increasing in volume and not so much increasing in numbers of people to do the volume. So it creates stress. So that energy can just permeate the environment, and it can permeate the people that work in the environment. So one of the things that pranic healing can do is sweep away that stress energy. And then we would put fresh prana into the body, and then the body would use that to heal, balance, normalize the energy centers of the body. Also, people that have pain. Pain is often a place where the energy is also stuck. So again, we apply a similar technique, and we would sweep away that stuck energy, and again, apply fresh prana for the body to use to heal itself. Interesting enough, the pranic healer is not really the healer in this modality, but the person who you're working on is the healer. So if you'd like to learn more about this, please click the button below to register for the class. All right, so once we clean and energize the energy body, then we want to look at how we can apply that to others' healing. We want to apply that to how we can do that for healing ourselves. We also look at how can we use that for people who live a long way for us. So say, for example, you have a friend or a relative or someone you know of who has some problems in their health or in their life, and they live some distance from you. Well, you can still apply pranic healing to them long distance. In fact, just yesterday, one of my students called me and said that she had a relative who had just had some chemotherapy, and they were experiencing some pain after the chemotherapy and wanted to know what to do for that patient. And they were exploring different options with me, and I said, well, just do pranic healing. And she said, well, the person lives many states away. And I said, it's okay, just do long distance pranic healing. So indeed, she did apply the technique, and she reported that the relative experienced substantial relief. In fact, the pain went away. So it was a very simple technique that this person did, and it was substantial relief for the person who she was treating. And she felt very grateful that she had the opportunity and the tools to provide that relief for that relative. Now, can we say that everyone will be healed completely with pranic healing? No, we cannot. But I've been running a healing clinic since 1998. We've been doing it weekly since 1999, and we have seen amazing things happen in our healing clinic. So while we can't guarantee certain results, what we can tell you is that we've seen many, many, many miraculous things happen with pranic healing. It's very scientific. Master Cho is a chemical engineer, and so everything that he did was very structured and very scientific. And he's written many recipes, we call them, for different ailments that we follow. And that makes us able to have consistent results and amazing results. So please click the button below. Come and find out more about this amazing modality. Now, lastly, the last thing that we can do is we can do environmental healing. So remember we talked about how your workplace might be stressful. If the healthcare providers often work in places where there's lots of disease energy, if you're a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a social worker, your office is filled with negative energies or negative thoughts, or the expulsions of your patients as they express their pain and their discomfort and their sadness and their grief. And so those energies can contaminate that environment or saturate that environment with those energies, which then when our aura is in there, it kind of soaks it up. So eventually we can become heavy. And some people have even looked older because of that energies that keep getting put on them every day. So we can also do environmental healing. So that's also taught in the class. So we can clear it from stress energy, disease energy, negative thoughts and emotions. So it's very, very nice. The last thing that we do in the class is divine healing. Divine healing is healing with prayer. Prayer is very, very powerful and is a very high source of energy. So we also learn that. So come to the class. What are you going to learn? You're going to learn how to do the basic technique of pranic healing. I call it elementary, my dear Watson, pranic healing. We'll learn intermediate pranic healing, which is where you start learning the recipes and following the recipes for more complicated procedures. You'll learn how to do it on yourself, learn how to do it on others, learn how to do long distance, learn how to do divine healing, and learn how to do environmental healing. All that in 2 days. So the workshop's 2 days long. It goes from usually 9:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon on 2 days. And at the end of that, then you will know basic pranic healing. So click below to register for this class now. Now, after you take basic pranic healing, there are some other classes, as I spoke earlier in the video. The next class that you would take would be advanced pranic healing. Advanced pranic healing uses color pranas. So color pranas actually make the work much faster and much efficient, and they work very, very well for very complicated and complex conditions. So that would be the next level class. After that is the pranic healing for mental and emotional well-being. So we can work for stress, for addictions, for grief, for depression, for those kinds of things, for traumas. So that would be the next level class. And then there's the pranic crystal healing class. You can do pranic healing without a crystal, but the crystal is sort of like a tool. So if you were going to dig a hole in the ground, you could dig it with your hands. But if you dug it with a shovel, it would be much faster. So the crystal actually helps us dig off some of the stuck energy faster, and it penetrates more. So it's actually a tool that we can use. So it's a very nice tool to have. We can also use it for other things which are taught in the class. So please click the button below, register now, and I'll see you in the class. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.